The Novablast family with ASICS is entering its 5th generation. It was a very fun ride that became a bit more serious throughout the years, and with this version ASICS tried to make it fun again. But can you become fun again once you've been serious? This is the question we'll try to answer in this first impression review. Hey everyone, and welcome back on the channel. My name is Alex. In today's first impression review we have the Novablast 5, a shoe that is, I think, highly anticipated because it's a very successful, long-lasting family of shoes with ASICS. The first Novablast was introduced in 2019 or 2020, if I remember well, and now we have the 5th generation with 2 key updates. We'll get into that here in a second. But first of all, I think the most important thing is that the price point remains unchanged at €150, $150. Which makes it a very competitive entry-level, middle range, daily trainer with all the versatility of the Novablast range. Quite frankly, a shoe that I think deserves quite some attention because it can work for many different runners. Let's look directly into the specs of this shoe. This men's edition has 41.5 millimeters of stack height in the heel. The women's is 40.5, that's only 1 millimeter difference. 8 millimeters drop for that 33.5 in the forefoot, that's again for the men's version. Men's US 9 is a 255 grams weight. Let's go into the upper of this shoe, and that's one of the 2 key updates, probably the minor update. We now have a engineered mesh on this shoe, replacing the engineered woven material that was present on last year's edition, the Novablast 4. In terms of comfort, we have a very comfortable upper. I didn't find any issues with it, any hot spots, really comfortable. The key comfort element for me is really that heel. Very good lockdown, nicely padded, really wrapping in my heel very nicely, and I really enjoyed it. It's quite stout, and it helps with the stability because once you have that lockdown achieved here in the heel, you definitely feel secure, and that's what this shoe's upper is creating. The laces are actually quite good, right length, right material. The tongue is semi-gusseted, and the lockdown in the midfoot is also on par with the heel lockdown, so quite good as well. Lots of volume in the toe box. In general, I would say this is an upper that offers quite some volume. This is my true to size US 11 EU 45, and I would rank this as average plus type of volume in the upper. If I had to give you a number from 1 to 5, 1 being super snug and 5 being super wide, this is probably a 3, 3.5 in terms of width and volume in this upper. Like I said, true to size fit, works well. I had enough room in the toe box also up front, and no issues with the toes bumping here in the front of the shoe. So upper, to be honest, is a good update. I didn't have any issues with the previous upper. This one feels a bit more pliable, a bit more hugging the foot, if you will, whereas the previous one was probably, a bit more rigid, stiff, and it was okay, but I think this is also more breathable. Yesterday was quite hot here in New York for my first 10-mile run in the shoe, and I didn't run too hot in my feet, which is an issue I can have sometimes. Looking at the midsole, this is the second key update in the shoe. The stack height and the drop remain the same, but the material, the foam compound on this shoe has changed. It was Flight Foam Blast Plus Eco on the previous Novablast 4. And now we move to Flight Foam Blast Max in this shoe. This is only the second time ASICS is using this foam compound in any of their shoes. The first one is the Glide Ride Max that released a month ago in September, and now it's the second time they're using it. It's really soft. It's much softer than the Flight Foam Blast Plus Eco that was on the shoe last year. Maybe a bit less bouncy, a bit less responsive, but softer. The bounciness is just different. It's a longer, more gentle bounce, but yeah, the previous one had a, let's say, more direct bounce, if you will, a bit more energetic in terms of bounce, but kind of getting to the same level of bounciness, just a bit, faster for the previous material and a more gentle curve of bounce, if that makes sense, for this one. Softer for sure, very heel strike friendly, a bit more ground contact in the forefoot than one would expect with 33.5 millimeters of stack height, so I'd say a bit of bottoming out with this foam. Because of how soft it is, you kind of feel the ground under your forefoot. Nothing dramatic, actually quite pleasant for me as a midfoot to heel striker, getting all that cushion here and a bit of sensations, a bit of more, direct sensations here under the forefoot. This is again a first impression review, so I cannot really comment on a variety of paces, but for the paces I ran at with this shoe so far, I must say it's again that super versatile shoe, but with a bit more cushion and a bit more softness underfoot compared to the previous iterations. Very limited rocker, not super aggressive rocker and not super aggressive toe spring, so fairly flat here in the forefoot area, creating something that Requires a bit of work, but at the same time, feels very natural and is not draining energy out of you, if that makes sense. As you can see, the torsion is quite good, it's quite pliable, so this is also a key element of comparison with the Superblast that has a bit less torsion, is way less pliable than this. The rigidity in the Superblast will help you be a bit more efficient, help you save a bit of energy, whereas here you probably will, use a bit more power to move at the same pace as you would have with the Superblast. The price tag is also quite different from the Superblast, so these two shoes can almost be used together in one rotation, with the Superblast being more that thresholds, long run type of shoe, and this being more your daily trainer endurance shoe. You can take the shoe at faster paces, but it's just not going to be as efficient for longer distances and longer efforts compared to the Superblast. ASICS A-Hard grip here on the outsole. No comment whatsoever at this point. I will update this video with, let's say, long-term review of this shoe, but for now, it's just working really nicely. Price tag €150, $150, and that's where this shoe is shining, because it's offering a very comprehensive package at a, let's say, reasonable middle level type of price point. And the fact that it did not increase in price point is also quite appreciated. If you enjoyed the OG Novablast 1 and 2 mostly, then 3 and 4, in my opinion, departed quite a lot from the OG Novablast. But if you enjoyed the first iterations of this model, this is getting a bit closer to it, while kind of taking the lessons and learnings from version 3 and 4 that also had some nice stuff to them. But yeah, it's a bit more fun, a bit more soft, and that's, I would say, my key takeaways for this first impression review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments, any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. I will be very happy to reply. Let's link to the review of the Novablast 4 or 3, one of the previous versions, or maybe Superblast 2, we'll see. There's gonna be an ASICS review right here. Thanks a lot for watching, enjoy your run today, enjoy your ride, go beyond your limits, and I will see you in the next one.